we are looking at broken access control, which is when authorization is not done correctly in an application where admin functionality might get exposed inadvertently. And this is going to be a very simple example. And the reason for that is underneath it all, this is really what it comes down to is we have a website. It has normal boring stuff that it's showing to other users. But then when we suddenly put in is admin equals true, you're suddenly viewing the admin section. And this is a very, very simple example. You would think that this is not a real world example, but there are websites that work like this, especially internal internet type websites, where that's all that it takes is a parameter. Sometimes somebody will be clever enough to add a button and make it a post instead of a get. So then, it would just look like this essentially. Instead of post, it would be get. And you would think, oh, it's so much harder to do this, but not really. It's all the same. It's just you have access to fake this out if you know what you're doing. And the only solution really is to have your authorization scheme be more complicated than setting a flag. And it should be more like you have a user. So instead of this, it would be something like current user dot is admin. Then you show this section. Otherwise, you show all the other stuff. And we don't have a user logged in here. We're not using user system for this example, but this is how your code would look like if you were trying to restrict based on actual users having permissions, because you don't actually want that permission to be coming in from the client side. Anytime that you're serializing or just storing something client side, either a cookie or some kind of encoded session variable, unless it's encrypted, or you're doing some flags inside the source code or on the request, and you're relying on those in order to say is somebody an admin or not. That can be a very bad idea, because if it's accessible to the user, essentially if the user can get to anything by doing something like this and looking through and finding something in either the sources or in the structure of the HTML or in the way that the network requests are shaped, this is always going to be a problem for you as a owner of a website. Let's see, I broke something again, but that's because I'm doing fictional coding here. We don't have that in reality. So that is completely fine. There we go. Super secret stuff is available again. And that's because this is just evaluating to true here. Don't bother with this. So the important thing is you've now seen how to not build your admin functionality. And so be safe out there with authorizing users. Don't have code that relies on flags.